Hi there, this is Lindsay Perot, and I want to take a few minutes to walk you through how to edit the Halloween escape template. So, this escape does not come with any content in terms of challenges. You have the challenge templates, but there is no pre-populated content. So you're basically starting this escape from scratch. The good thing about that is you could use this for absolutely any grade level and any content area. It will work for math, it will work for reading, it will work for foreign language classes, science, social studies, you name it, and you can use it. So the first page that comes in the actual editable file, there's a black and white version and a color version. So I'm going to take you through the color version right now. Black and white is exactly the same except there's no color. So your first page, what you can edit here is the actual challenge. So the current challenge says that your school has been taken over by candy sneaking spiders. They've taken all the candy and locked it into 4 boxes. You can change this. I know a lot of schools don't allow candy in school. My children's school is one of them. So this wouldn't really work for the situation if you were going to actually have physical boxes with prizes. You could change it to say homework passes, pencil erasers, goodies, little prizes or something. You can change it so it does not have to say candy. Before you open the editable version though, like if you want to have these font ones in here that I do, you need to read the first file in the zip and it'll instruct you on where to go to download these free fonts. They're free for personal use, and how to install them before you start to edit. So the next 2 pages, these cannot be edited just because they're just your challenge cards to be printed and put on your envelopes. You can print these on colored paper if you'd like. And then we get down to challenge A. What you can edit here is, I'll highlight everything. Anything that is in a box, you have the ability to edit. So not the background, the image, not the challenge number, but you can edit all of this stuff. So you can type your skill in here. So just for example, I'll type in decimals operations. You can customize the directions here. So if you want to say solve the problem, if you have a different type of question here, you can completely customize this. And then you'll type in your questions. So for example, if I just do 4.5 plus 1.2 here, and I know that answer is going to be 5.7, and let's say I want it here. So I'll change this. And when you are typing in your questions, I recommend grabbing the shapes tool and go ahead and put the arrows on here for the answers, and you can delete them when you go to print. This way, like if I don't want 4 to be one of the answer choices, I can move these around. Or if I for sure wanted to go through 3, I can do that. So you go ahead and put in all your questions. There are more spots for answers here than questions, just so there are a few distractors. If you don't like that, you can delete a couple of rows just like this, highlight them, right click, delete rows, and then you can also just take away the 2 dots. And then you can stretch this out if you want. This whole thing can be manipulated. It's very easy to use, and then slide the dots down. But I'm going to put it back the way it was for now. And you can move these around. So let's say you don't want to have numbers. You want your code to have something to do with the words or something like that. So you can change these to be letters if that's what you choose to do. And you can have however many lines you want going through however many letters or numbers that you want. You can have 1 line go through 2 if you'd like. And then you type your code directions here. So what I typically do is I have them go through numbers, and then I will type for my code. Your code will be the numbers that the lines go through in order from least to greatest, or something like that. If you have it go through letters, you can tell them to unscramble the letters and give them a hint as to what the word is. And then their code can be numerical, it can be alphabetical, whatever you'd like. You can change this. So if you want it to be like 4 letters, you can just put spaces in here, and there they know that there should be 4 letters, 4 numbers. You can customize this as well. If you want to use actual boxes with locks, you don't have to worry about having your code be 4 digits and then resetting the codes, because this is just meant to be a 1-day activity. You can have your code be whatever you want. So it can be a little riddle, a question, maybe the answer is spider. And students will show it to you, and if they're right, say, great, okay, now here's the code for the lock for box A. So in order for them to get the physical lock code, if you decide to use a lock, they just have to show you the code that you have from the challenge. So they'll just basically swap you. They tell you spider, you tell them 2378 or whatever the code is for the lock. Or you can just make your answer be the code for the lock. It's up to you. So that's how you edit challenge A. It's super easy. Go through and just line everything up and then move these around however you'd like. And there you go. And then when you're done, you'll have all these arrows here, showing your answers. And then I would suggest, I'll show you right now, if you want to so let's say you get this challenge finished and you have all these lines on here and you don't want to just delete them because it's your answer key. If you right click on that slide and do duplicate slide, it will give you another one. So you can go ahead and delete the lines and the answers off of one slide to give to your students, and then you'll still have your answer version here. So you do have the option to duplicate slides. Okay, challenge B. This one has 2 pages of prep. So this is a challenge where they are going to have little cards and they have to solve a problem and find the answer card and lay it on top. So I have simplify each expression. So for an example, I might give them, just because I'm math, an expression to solve, whoops, sorry, I've got caps lock on, but you get the idea. So they might have expressions to simplify by combining like terms. So you'll type in all of your questions. Again, it doesn't have to be math related. And then your next page, these are your answers. So let's say for this one, the answer would be 11x plus 7y. So I can come in here and change this. There's my answer. These can also be changed. So if you wanted to change the number, if you want them to be letters, it's up to you. So this page will have all the answers on it. Again, there are more than what you need. If you don't want to use all of them, just delete them. Right click, delete rows, and you have fewer options. So this is why this will work for younger grades too. You can have very simple math problems, very simple, a word and you ask, or a sentence and you ask what the errors are in terms of punctuation or capitalization or grammar. And you can have those too. But so you'll type in your answer choices here. This will be pre-cut for students, and then they will take their card and lay it on top here. So let's say, I'm just going to show, so let's say their answer was this, and then when they lay the card on top, this is what it'll look like. So I'm just showing you what the answer would look like. So they'll have their card laid on top of the question, and when it lays on top, this is what it'll look like. So again, you can have letters, so when they read through, it gives them a word. They can unscramble. I tend to use numbers just because I make math challenges where this one might be 3, this one might be 4. My directions would say add across row 1, and that's your first digit. Subtract across row 2, that's your second digit, and so on. So you can make your code directions be whatever you'd like. So this one has 10 questions on it. You cannot change the number of questions because these boxes are locked into the background. But if for some reason you only wanted, let's say, 5 questions, you could insert a shape. I'll show you how to do this really quickly. If you want to cover up anything that I did, you could always just insert a plain white box. And it's not going to be perfect, but it'll still eliminate some choices for you. Fill it to white, outline it to white, and then now you have just one large box. You could also change it to be 2, or if you wanted to, well, go like this, but then you'll have the 2 and 3 rows here. But you can use white boxes to cover anything up. So this is challenge B. Challenge C uses this spinner. I have this pre-populated with these numbers on here, but for an example, one that I made, I didn't use the numbers 1 through 9 altogether. This one has it, but others don't, or 1 through 8. But you might want to have letters here, A, B, or so on. You might want numbers. So this can change. So I would recommend just deleting these numbers out and having them start from scratch. You can change the numbers here, or the words here. So what I like to have them do is they find their answers. So let's say their inner circle number is 4, their outer circle is 8, and I'll explain what all this means in a second. I would have them add it. Their sum is 12, divide by 2, 6. That's one of the digits of their code. So, but you can change this. You can delete these if you don't even want these columns here. Just highlight, right click, delete columns, and then you can stretch this out. You can manipulate this whole page. It's up to you. So their question will be here. And if you don't want to say solve, you can take that out. Type your question here. And then, I'm sorry, this will be where their work goes. Sorry about that. But so here's where their questions come from. So let's say you want to have a question here. And again, just because I'm math, we'll just say 8 plus 4. And then you'll have an answer over here, 12. So you'll have these two circles cut out and secured on top of one another with a brad. The fastener brad will go right through the middle. So students will spin this top one on top of here to line up the question and the answer. So in this case, 8 plus 4 is 12. So when they line these up, they'll have 5 and 7 lined up. So if you want to have them do something with those numbers, you can. Again, you can change those to be letters. You can change, it can be whatever you want it to be. So that's why this is very, very customizable, and it does take prep on your part because you have to make every question. But this one has 8 questions. The one before it had 10. So it's not too terribly bad. But once you prep it once, you'll be able to use it year after year. So that's this challenge. The last challenge is a puzzle. So they get 9 puzzle pieces here, and they'll lay them down on top of this to solve their puzzle. Once again, you can type in the skill. You have the ability to edit this. You can edit the directions. You can edit your code directions, the code line. And then this is your prep page. So this is the completed version. When you make this, make it so it's completed. So for your question here, if 5 plus 9, answer, highlight 14. So go ahead and have it put together this way. That way you know you have your answer key, and then print it and cut it apart. These optional distractors, you don't have to use them. If you want to delete all of them to make this easier for your students, you can just go around and delete, and then you only have to worry about the interior questions and answers. And then once again, these can be edited. They can be numbers, they can be letters, it can be whatever you want it to be. So there's just 4 escapes with this. Typically my math escapes have 8 challenges, but this time I just did 4 because it's meant to just be a one-day activity, and it requires prep on your part. So prepping 8 challenges would be a lot of work for you. So here's your 4. You have this printable code page for students. One has a little girl on it, one has a little boy. You don't have to use it at all if you don't want. This is not editable because of the graphics and the different fonts that I used. But you would just print this if you want. Then you have hint cards for each of the 4 challenges that you did. So you can edit this part, the type hints here. So you can type in whatever you want. You can insert a table. You can insert images. It's up to you. You can edit anything that you want in here. Not the background and stuff like that, but you can type in whatever information you want for these hint cards. These are completely editable. Your escape booklet, if this is optional, you don't have to use it. This front page is not editable. This part, the challenge is. So again, if you change the challenge from the wording that I used, you can go ahead and change it in the booklet as well. And then also, these pages are not editable because I don't know what you're going to be doing for your own challenges. I don't like the booklets to give away too much information because then students could solve or work through the whole escape without actually going to the challenges. So I hope that makes sense. So for example, in this case, once you type in your problems, you could always take a screenshot of this and insert it into the challenge B page right here, turn it sideways as an image. But then again, your students will have their booklet and they could go through and solve all those questions without going to the escape. So I typically like this to just be a work page. So they'll have all their work to be able to show you that they did put forth the effort, and then they can record their code on that page. So this is it. It does also include escape challenge signs. Let me see. I don't have that pull that up right now. So if they finish the escape, they can hold up signs and take photos, and some sample pictures from a sample that I made. So if you want to purchase this, it's $8, and on TPT you can go directly there by going to bit.ly/H escape for Halloween escape. And then if you want to purchase from the Math Escapes website, just go to mathescapes.com, shop, the shop tab at the top, and then click Shop Escapes. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, you could always reach out via email. My email is lindsayperot@gmail.com. I hope you have a great day.